The ideal moment to conclude your negotiation is when the other party understands that you have made your best offer and he or she shows signs of agreement. Take the opportunity to reformulate the key points from your discussions and highlight the points that you agree on. But how can we identify the right time to conclude the negotiation? Quite simply, by being observant. In other words, by making sure that we can identify signs of acceptance. We can spot signs of approval in the other party indicating that it is time to conclude. For example,
in the other party's gestures. For example, the other party uncrosses his legs, opens his hands, and nods his head in approval. All of these gestures bode well. In the other party's words. The other party imagines him or herself in the solution that you are offering. Would your 24-hour assistance give me access to? In this case, I could plan an operation on. The other party asks questions about deadlines, procedures, availability, and so on. He or she asks you for an extra advantage, a goodwill gesture, or a small favor, for example. Ideally, you should take the initiative for concluding the negotiation. Again, the psychological aspect is important here. Remember, to be convincing, you need to have convinced yourself that the negotiation will produce a clear and favorable outcome.
You can express this attitude by being dynamic, enthusiastic, and assertive. Your language should be affirmative and positive. You should banish statements such as, "You'll see, you won't regret it, this machine won't give you any trouble, it won't break down." This type of phrase, although often heard, includes many negative words that work against the desired effect. Won't regret, trouble, breakdown. First of all, you need to indicate to the other party that it is time to wrap up the discussion. A few seconds of silence should suffice. Sometimes you need to provoke a verbal or non-verbal sign of acceptance. To move from implicit to explicit acceptance, you should present a summary of the key positive arguments, keeping back one or two, developed during the discussion. Again, a couple of seconds of silence between each point will help you to gain approval. This approval is normally a given, as the benefits have already been accepted during the discussion and correspond to the key needs. You need to know how to detect the other party's reaction, which could be: the other party approves or agrees.
It's in the bag. You can conclude directly, indicating that the product or service corresponds exactly to the other party's needs, and that you just need to formalize the negotiation by turning words into deeds, by signing the contract, for example.
The other party sends no signal or appears to be uncertain.
In this case, you should opt for a test conclusion, either by way of an implicit conclusion, for example, what do you think of making it operational in week 12? Or by formulating an alternative conclusion, for example, do you want your technicians to implement it, or would you prefer us to take care of it?
The other party is reluctant and is clearly hesitating.
In this case, you should reformulate an additional benefit and try to seek approval. If this doesn't work, you should present a new argument, cherry-picking your arguments, in order to finally convince the other party this time. Another solution is to make the other party regret not accepting your offer. Withdrawal technique, for example. Why deprive yourself of a solution that will bring you X, Y, and Z benefits as soon as you implement it? If this still doesn't work, you should seriously question your offer with great humility. What do you think my offer lacks? Where have I failed to convince you? At this point in our discussions, what can I do to convince you? If the customer's response offers the slightest opening, take it and restart your arguments based on this new information. If not, admit that you haven't convinced your customer this time and stay positive. Remember your professionalism, the company's image, and that you need to protect your chances of convincing the customer another time.
In your opinion, is the following statement true or false? The other party should instigate the conclusion.
Congratulations, that's the right answer. Ideally, you should take the initiative for concluding the negotiation. How many types of possible conclusion lead to a contract being prepared?
Great! That's the right answer. We saw in the conclusion process diagram that there are 3 types of possible conclusion that lead to a contract being prepared: direct, indirect, and alternative conclusions.